So I wasn't going to make this video because I thought it was stupid. All right, I thought this whole story was stupid. There's no logic behind it. There's no rhyme or reason behind it. Why would Nintendo do this? It doesn't make any sense. I saw this story. I saw it on message boards and Reddits, and even some other YouTubers were making videos on this. I checked it out and I was like, this is stupid. It's a non-story. It's something that doesn't exist. It makes absolutely no sense, and Nintendo is not going to do this with the Switch. But something happened last night. I was laying in bed, dealing with my pimple, or whatever. I'm just embracing the pimple now. And some people, when they lay in bed, they think about like women or men or money or something like that. I, on the other hand, think about video games because I have problems. And as I'm laying in bed, it's like a game of Pong started happening in my head because I kept going back and forth. Well, you know, that's a stupid story. It doesn't make any sense, but maybe it does make sense. Why was it such a well-written post initially? Why are there so many specific details within this? What does this individual have to gain from posting something like this? It does make no sense. It's not really what any Nintendo Switch fans want, but maybe that's the whole point. Maybe that's what Nintendo wants to do because they tend to do things that don't really make sense sometimes, and then they come out and people gobble it up. It doesn't really matter, and it's something that's sort of a bastard within the Nintendo Switch universe, so maybe it does make sense. Maybe it's stupid. Maybe it makes no sense, but that's what we're going to figure out today because I want your guys' feedback. So this involves the Nintendo Switch hardware side of things. We're not talking about a Pro. We're not talking about a successor. We're not talking about any of that stuff because that's what we all want. You see, that's what we all want. And that's what we all are hoping for, whether it's a full-on successor, whether it's a system that introduces DLSS technology with some sort of upscaling. That is a system that we actually want. That is a system that we actually need. But this is Nintendo. Looking at their history of things, they tend to do things that don't really make much sense, especially on the hardware side of things when it comes to handhelds. The Game Boy Micro? Well, what was the point of that? All right, the Nintendo, look at the 3DS lineup. You had the 3DS that came out. You can only play these games in 3D. Oh, then we're going to have a 2DS. Then we're going to have a new 3DS. Then we're going to have a new 3DS XL. Then we're going to have a new 2DS. Then we're going to have a new 2DS XL. They like to make variants of their handheld systems, and most of us think of the Nintendo Switch as a console, but there is a large majority of people that play it as a handheld. Honestly, I play mine a lot as a handheld, but I don't really consider it a handheld because it has the whole Switch mechanic. You plug it in, and then boom, you're playing a game on your television. But there is one variant of the Nintendo Switch that a lot of people seem to forget exists, and that is the Nintendo Switch Lite, the bastard of the Nintendo Switch hardware lineup, because they never really talk about it. It kind of came out, you know, they had some different colors and stuff. It was a decent little system at $200 if you only like to play in handheld mode. Okay, there's some value in that for you. You could play the full Nintendo Switch library on it. Granted, these games don't necessarily look all that great as they're all in handheld mode, and they tend to look better in docked mode, but whatever. At least you are able to play the games. It's a cheaper alternative. So it did okay. You know, it did okay. Nintendo doesn't talk about it a lot, but it's kind of the bastard. You know, when you look at the Nintendo Switch Standard, you've gotten a couple different variants. Of course, there were some that were just battery-based that weren't a huge deal, but then there's things like the OLED. We have the Nintendo Switch Splatoon 3 OLED coming out. So they like to do variants of these systems, and that's what we're talking about now, because evidently there's a new variant of a Nintendo Switch Lite coming called the Nintendo Switch Lite 5G. Like I said, stupid. Stupid. Why would anyone talk about this? Why is this a thing? Why is anyone excited for this? No. But when you think about Nintendo, they tend to do things that don't really make a whole hell of a lot of sense sometimes. They just do what they want to do, what they think the market is going to dictate. And this is a Japanese company, which is something that you need to keep in mind with this because it does play a role in the justification of this. Now, the Nintendo Switch Lite 5G is coming to us from 4chan. Right then and there. Stupid. When you go to 4chan, you hear like edgy memes and like, I stuck my finger up your mom's ass. Like that's what 4chan is all about. But to be fair, 4chan did accurately leak the entire Nintendo Switch presentation before it happened when the Switch was first unveiled, including every single game. I always go back to that because I want to keep that in your mind. For some reason, people will go on 4chan, probably because of the anonymity of it, and just reveal things that they know, or reveal things that they found out, because there is that anonymity. The anonymity makes it interesting, though, because you don't really get credit for it or anything. So, once again, that Pong game is playing in my head, back and forth, back and forth. But the Nintendo Switch Nintendo Switch Lite 5G is a system that was talked about on 4chan. As you can see here, Former Nintendo employee here, I have a small tip on what the next Nintendo Switch hardware refresh is being worked on by Nintendo. It is a Switch Lite with support for cellular networks and a slightly bigger screen. Tentatively named the Nintendo Switch Lite 5G, likely the final name. Supports 5G and 4G LTE networks in addition to Wi-Fi. Uses the Qualcomm Snapdragon X55 5G modem. It's a 10 to 20% bigger screen over the current Switch Lite. Planned for a spring 2023 release in the United States, Canada, UK, Japan, and Australia, coming in at $249 with a manufacturer suggested retail price. AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon partnership in the US with new Switch Lite 5G specific plans and discounted bundles with the data plans and Nintendo Switch Online membership. NTT Docomo, Japan, Rogers, Canada, Optus, Australia, and O2 UK said to be partners. Now, this is stupid. This is stupid. This doesn't make sense. This isn't what anyone wants. It's stupid, but I have questions. I have questions. Why is this so well written? You know, it's punctuation. You know, it's something that it's well written, and that bothers me. That bothers me a lot, because a lot of times you can see right through these posts. It bothers me that it's so well written. When you think about the Nintendo Switch itself, and especially the Nintendo Switch Lite, we go back to what we were just talking about, where it's not a dockable system. It is simply a portable system. So it's a system that you take with you wherever you go. And unless you have a steady Wi-Fi connection, you're not really able to use the online portions of it. Now, you and I, we might not play our Nintendo Switch online while we're out in public, but maybe there's people that do. Maybe there's people that want to. Maybe there's people that, you know, crave that sort of thing. You can link it up to your cell phone, but that's another step that you have to make. So what if they eliminated that step? What if they eliminated that step completely? When you talk about Japan, which is what I said, Nintendo is a Japanese company. When you think about Japan, there's Wi-Fi all over the place, but there's also 5G all over the place there. Japan is a very small place compared to something like the United States. And the fact that, you know, people take their Nintendo Switches out with them a lot and treat it like a portable system, this allows them to potentially play their games wherever they are, online, play with friends, play whatever. Coupling it with membership programs and stuff like that would make it so that it's a true portable system that you can play wherever you go, no matter where you are, as long as you have a 5G or a 4G connection. Now, this sounds like something from a decade ago. This sounds like something that, you know, Sony would have done. You know, they did things like this with the PS Vita, and, you know, on paper, it's like, well, it doesn't make sense. Why would they do this? It doesn't make sense, but that's why it makes sense. That's why this makes sense, because Nintendo is batshit crazy. They're out of their minds. They know that people want a stronger system, but they also know that they're going to do whatever the hell they want to do. And if this includes a system variant that nobody asked for, that probably won't be all that successful, it doesn't matter to them, because that's what they think people want. That's what they think that the majority of the market wants. Maybe there is a demand for this in certain regions, and maybe that region is not the USA, and that's fine. I understand that, but the fact that you would put time, effort, quality, and care into something like this just doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. We know that Nintendo is stockpiling resources. All right, they're stockpiling these resources, and everyone didn't know why. We all assumed that was for a more powerful Nintendo Switch, but what if it's not? What is for a Nintendo Switch Lite 5G? That system hasn't had a refresh, and really, it could use something like a refresh, or they could just let it just exist. They could let it exist. Obviously, this system is $50 more. If the system does exist, there would be multiple membership plans so that you get the 5G connection, this, that, and the other thing. Like, there's a lot of things that don't go along with it that make it a very smooth process, especially on the technological side of things, on the online side of things. But maybe that is more proof that this does exist. Because when you think about Nintendo, how they handle online stuff, it's pretty ass backwards. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it a buck. All right? They don't have the best online shit. You know, some of the Wii U has better online stuff, functionality, capabilities than the Nintendo Switch does. So what does it matter? What does it matter if they do something like this that's completely off the wall? It's just what they do. It's what they do. It's in their blood. It's in their DNA. So I don't know. It's stupid. It's a stupid idea. I don't like it. I think it's pointless. I don't think anyone is really craving something like this, but that's kind of why I kind of believe in it a little bit now, because Nintendo just does whatever the hell they want to do. We could sit here and ask and demand and beg and plead, and that doesn't matter. They're going to do what their business model tells them to do. And maybe it does kind of make sense. Maybe this would end up being something successful. And, you know, maybe not in the United States, but maybe in other regions to where, you know, it becomes an important thing. You got to remember, Nintendo looks at Japan as its main region still. Even though, you know, the Japanese video game market is nothing like it was 10, 20 years ago, that doesn't matter to Nintendo. They still focus on that marketplace much more so than the United States, even though the West is really what's driving system sales and driving software sales. I mean, keep it a buck. Keep it a buck. Nintendo of America is a PR company. They're simply, you know, they do some translations and shit like that. They do, you know, promotions for games and systems when they come out. But beyond that, they don't dictate anything. They don't decide anything. That's all from Nintendo of Japan. So, oh my God. It's an endless game of Pong happening in my mind. Just boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, this shit don't make no sense. But maybe that's why it makes sense. So let me know in the comments section down below what you think of this madness. Do you think of this insanity? Is the Nintendo Switch Lite 5G an actual thing? Is this going to be a system that comes out next summer? You don't need a lot of pomp and circumstance. This is something that you could just announce via YouTube trailer drop. You don't even need a director or anything like that. You simply do a YouTube trailer drop and you're like, hey, look at this shit. It's kind of different. Give us money. I don't know, man. I don't know. Give me your feedback in the comments section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like, comment, and share. Hit the bell notification as well, so that way you can see updates on the pimple. 37 years old. I'm dealing with a friggin' pimple. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.